Welcome back to Beauty Marks Podcast. My name is Elizabeth Savillon, and thank you for joining me on today's episode. I hope you guys have all had a great week. Over the past few weeks, I have been working on a few things and just kind of getting adjusted to this new normal that we have. So I really hope that all of you guys are staying safe, wearing your mask, and just being careful out there. On today's episode, I am really excited to have someone that I have known since elementary school, and she's grown into being an amazing woman. And she is a sports reporter, and she just has an amazing story. So I really hope it empowers you today. And so I want to welcome Bailey Overstreet. How are you today?
Good. How are you?
Doing good. So I actually know her from middle school when I lived from elementary school, to be honest, since I lived in Oklahoma for a few years. And I've, just been on social media, just kind of following her journey. And I reached out to her because I feel like she's very passionate about what she does, but she just has such a great presence and has an amazing story that I'm just learning about now. And I wanted her to come on here just to, talk and encourage us.
Yes, ma'am.
So do you want to just say a little bit about yourself? What are you passionate about?
Okay, I'm very passionate about sports and also my faith. My faith keeps me going.
Yes, girl. Same here. It's like the daily. Were you raised in church or?
Yes, I was always raised in church. Are you kidding? My mom, every Sunday, come on, Bailey, get up for church. Come on, Bailey. I could not miss church. The Lord, I stand behind him firmly. He is with me everywhere I go. Sometimes I even talk to him like he's one of my friends because I'm like, okay, Lord, like, come on, what do you
what's going on?
Or, what's going on? Or, oh my gosh, thank you, Lord. So I talk to him in different kinds of ways.
Yeah. And I feel like that's how as you grow up, especially if you've been growing up in church, like you kind of see it as like a very religious thing. But as you get older and you actually have like a true relationship with God, you realize it's kind of it is like a friend. Like it's someone that you can talk to that is there at all times, no matter if you feel it or not, like that you can just
no judgment.
I know. You can just cry, you can just talk, you can just be like, Lord, are you playing games? Like I've literally said, like, God, you're honestly probably looking down at me like, girl, not again.
No,
not
honestly.
Again.
One of my safe places in college was my car. Like whenever I tell you, like if I was feeling down or I just needed a moment, like I would go in my car and sit in my car for hours and just cry and cry and cry and then just pray like, Lord, I know you're looking at me right now like I'm crazy. And he's probably like, Bailey, I got you.
Yes, always, no matter what. And so like aside from you loving sports and all of that, like what are you doing right now?
I am a sports reporter in Dallas, Texas, for D210 Sports, and we cover the Metroplex of Dallas. So I cover the Dallas Mavericks and a little bit of WNBA, Dallas Wings. Dallas Wings used to be the Tulsa Shock, so go Tulsa Shock. Well, now Dallas Wings, though. And then SMU football and SMU basketball.
Wow, girl. I mean, you played basketball, like for
basketball in high school.
High school, right? Yes, I remember. I remember. Honestly, that's one of the things that you were like super into sports. So it honestly doesn't surprise me that you cover that now because you have always loved sports your whole life, right?
Yes, always love sports. And my family is a huge sports family too. So
yeah, I want to get kind of into your story of, the times that I have spoken to you now, like as an adult, we spoke a little bit and you kind of shared some things with me that I didn't know growing up. And so this is a space where we really just talk about what we've been through and how we've overcome a lot of those things. We're all a work in progress. And so I'm not saying like that you were perfectly fine now, but it's something that at the end of the day, we see how like certain things have shaped us to be who we are today.
Okay. Two things that have shaped me is I got diagnosed with a learning disability in reading and math in high school. And no one has ever known that. And then also I grew up with a dad with mental illness and still going through those obstacles now. But that has made me who I am. It has made me the person, a stronger woman. I look at life differently. It's really challenged me. And it's given me the confidence to push myself and know that I can do anything. Like, the learning disability doesn't define me, and dealing with my dad's mental illness doesn't define me either, but it's made me who I am. And with so many prayers, I've overcome it. And my faith, like, I've overcame this and still overcoming, because sometimes my learning disability, I'm like, I can't talk in front of the camera because I don't have enough confidence to read, or I don't have enough confidence, or, that doesn't define me. And I just keep that in the back of my mind, that God wouldn't have put me in this situation if he didn't know that I could do it, or if he did not know that he was going to see me through.
Yeah. Like he wasn't going to prepare you and
Yeah,
have the tools
he's
for it.
preparing me. Yes, he's definitely preparing me for the best.
Where did that start? Like, if we can kind of go back to we'll first talk about like your learning disability. So like,
Okay.
how did that all come to play? And like, how has that been through the past few years? Because, you went to college and all of that.
Well, I was diagnosed with ADHD and ADD too. And I think my mom took me to the doctor for that first. And then they like did a brain scan, and my brain scan, like, my high Q was I, but I struggled in reading and math. And so I don't know all the terms and stuff, but it came out learning disability in reading and math. And so I got extra help in high school. I was at first embarrassed because I didn't want to get pulled out of classes, because I didn't want people to know that I struggled in school. And that helped me. Like, I got different help. I got like extra time on tests. I got extra time on my work. And honestly, no one knew that. And so now looking back at it, I'm like, you know what, Bailey, like, why? Like, why were you scared of that? But I just think that was just like me being young. And then in college, I got help in college too. I got extra time in my tests, extra time in like my work. And then when I got into my field, I had a teacher like tell me like, hey, are you sure you want to do this? And I think that's what really pushed me. Honestly, I know that's what pushed me, because he told me that I couldn't. And I don't like when somebody tells me that I can't do something. So he told me that I couldn't. And with God behind me and me trying to push myself, I was like, you know what? That's mine and I'm going for it. And you can't tell me that I can't do it.
Yes,
So,
that
yeah,
ambition. You're like, I'm going to do it no matter what. I'm
right.
going
And
to
I was
figure
like,
out.
I'm going to figure it out.
So you ended up getting into college, but did you ever like doubt that you were going to be able to like go through college? Like, because
Oh, yes. Oh, absolutely. At first, I didn't want to go to school. I actually really wanted to be a real estate agent. And I was like I was like, Mom, like, I don't think that college is for me. And she was like, you know what, Bailey, that's fine. Like, it's not for everyone. And she wasn't mad at me. I thought she was going to be mad at me because I didn't want to like continue my education. And she was like, Bailey, like, I'm behind you 110%. And with her just being behind me, and I think it just made me realize, like, okay, Bailey, like, if you don't choose to go to college, that's totally fine. Like, you can choose another path. But I was so passionate about sports, and the love that I had for basketball ended, and I wanted to do something around sports, but I just didn't know what. And so then I had this mentor in college that went to Oklahoma State, and she kind of like led me in the right path. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to go to school. I'm going to go to school, because I knew people at Oklahoma State at first. And I was like, I'm going to try it. I'm going to try it. My mom even said, like, hey, try the first year. And if it's not for you, then it's just not for you. And so my mentor is really what kind of led me to the path, like, okay, like, I like this. I like this. I tried it out and I like this. Like, I could see myself doing this. And honestly, I prayed about it. Tons of prayers and tons of prayers. Like, God, if this is for me, show me that this is for me. Show me that this is for me. And he answered my prayers. And honestly, he's still answering my prayers. Like, I'm nowhere where I want to be, but I stand firm and I'm not letting up.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that attitude. Because it's like sometimes like you think that like everything's supposed to come out and like be plain sight what you have to do in your life, and I feel like that's a lot of pressure that you put on yourself unnecessarily, when it's like it's one step at a time. Like, as you go to one door and that door opens, that can lead to something else, and that can lead to like your end all be all kind of thing that you end up doing.
Right.
But it's amazing to hear, because I feel like you speak so well, like, and even like like, I feel like you're not shy. Like, or am I wrong? Like, are you an
No,
introvert?
I'm not a shy person. I'm
Okay.
not a shy person.
Yeah, so I feel like that works perfectly with your field, like putting yourself out there and like having that confidence. And like, where do you feel like you got that confidence? Because, you had those people that were telling you like, you're not going to, you can probably not
Yeah,
do it. So where did that come from?
I pray for this confidence, and I feel like I still am praying for confidence because sometimes I struggle with the confidence. Um, but I've learned my purpose, if that makes sense. I've learned that this is my purpose, and I think my purpose helps with my confidence. Like, I know that this is for me. I know God would not let me down. And I just lean on my faith. Like, I chose faith over my fears.
Because sometimes what we see doesn't line up with what we feel at the moment, but it's like knowing that there is a bigger purpose, for what's going on, you know what I mean? And in those seasons of doubt, I feel like that's when you really do hold on to your faith and just know that like there's brighter days to come, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? No matter what you might be going through. So when it comes to your field and like what you do, you're a supporter of the Black Lives Matter movement, you're a voice of being a woman in the sports industry. Like there's so many things to that. So how has that played out?
Oh, it's tough being a Black woman in the sports industry. Well, being a woman in the sports industry, period. It's tough because this is a male dominant industry, and women aren't supposed to do this. Like, that's what they say. Women aren't supposed to do this. Women know nothing about sports. And now with this whole social justice thing, it's gotten harder. People don't realize what a Black life goes through on a day-to-day basis. We understand each other, but no one gets what we go through on a day-to-day basis. Like, we're in a box and we can only be in this little box and no one else gets it just because of this color of our skin. Like, why should that matter?
Yeah, because you're talented, you're educated. There's nothing really different when it comes to the person that you are.
Right.
But again, like I know that I say this a lot. It's like I don't understand. Like I can be like, you know what I mean? Like, what do you mean? Like I love and appreciate your talent and whatever, but I will never truly understand what you go through. Like I will never understand. So I can only hear you, and try to fight with you amongst the people that are going against you, that are trying to tear you down. I mean, I don't know, it's a system thing. So it's not only just an individual.
And I think this is what I was trying to say. Like, we're given a box, like, without a chance. Without a chance to even let you in to get to know me. Like, because of the color of my skin, like, there's so much more to me.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much more to me. And we almost have to be perfect. And it's like no one else realizes that.
So how have you in your space, because I know you were speaking about, you were telling me about some things that you're working on now with other women in the space, like how have you been able to build a community?
Yes, I have this sisterhood called Galvanize, and we talk about everything that we go through. And it's like a therapy session too, because it's like, that you're not the only one that's going through it. And for a while, I thought that I was the only one that went through that. For instance, walking into the arena and there's a whole bunch of white people, and then me walking in as a Black woman, I look different than everyone, and my shape is different than everyone, and my hair is different than everyone. And I've learned to embrace that within time. And that's, again, like going back to the confidence, gaining that confidence. It's like, I love me. I love who I am. God made me who I am. And having that sisterhood, knowing that they go through the exact same thing and we understand each other like the back of our hand. And some of these girls, like, I've never met in my entire life, but we can relate to each other on another level. It's just so amazing. And so I have the chills right now because it's so heartfelt. And yes, it's just therapeutic. It's
Mm-hmm.
therapeutic because I can walk into a room with the same dress that a white woman has on, but I wear it different because of my curves. But I'll get judged and say, oh, it's too short. Oh, it's too tight because of the way my body is. And hers is perfectly fine. Or another incident is, I always used to want to wear my hair straight because I feel like straight hair you're accepted more. Like, who wants to have this curly hair and like poofy hair, and somebody's gonna be like, oh no, like that's not cute or that's not business. Like, just silly stuff like that. And I can bring to my sisterhood and be like, okay, y'all, like, here's how I'm feeling today, or and they'll understand that and they'll walk me through it, or we'll have a therapy session and we can talk about stuff. So just the sisterhood, being understood, therapeutic. We can all talk to each other about this and lean on each other for guidance and prayers. Love it.
Yeah, I love
Everything.
that. You
It's
empower
everything.
each other, and it's like there's so much more power when someone can say, I hear you and I
Oh,
know what you're
I
going
see
through.
you, I hear you, and I know what you're going through is the most powerful thing. Yes.
Yeah, it's different than someone saying like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." Like, it's like they will never understand. And I mean, to be honest, I feel like now, I don't know if this may be from my own view, but I've seen how people are starting to embrace, like, the Black community girls are like, I love my hair. You know what I mean? I love
Right.
how I look, my skin color, all these things that before it was kind of like, I want to be like her, you know what I mean? Or
Right.
I want to look like
Right.
this. And of
Right.
course, it's a work
Right.
in progress because it's like you've been told these things for years. And then now it's trying to undo that, because at the end of the day, you notice that you're like, wait, like, this is not right. Like, I've been trained to think that something's wrong with me when nothing's wrong with me. Like, I'm completely capable of all these things, and you're an amazing woman. Like, you are, again, educated, beautiful, talented. Like, you have all the potential to see you on like the big screen all over the United States. Like, I see that with you. So it's like, you know what I mean? That's beautiful. But I
Yes.
know that.
Don't get me wrong. I embrace my natural curly hair. I love it now. I'm over that. I chose faith over fear. I
Yes,
chose
girl.
confidence. I chose Godfidence.
Yes, confidence. I love that. So
Yeah.
now we're going to walk through the things that we spoke about your dad. So you said that that was another issue, but also your life, like something that you've had to walk through these past few years. So when did that start, and kind of how are you guys working through it now?
It started in third grade. He got diagnosed with bipolar, and started his drug addiction, because he wanted to self-medicate himself because he didn't feel normal. And I've been going through that now all my life since I was in third grade. Some people know I've opened up about it to some people, and a lot of people don't know. A lot of people wouldn't have even thought. Because my dad's a great person. He's literally just like me. Well, I'm just like him. His personality, his smile, like, he'll give his last to you. He's such a great person, but he got diagnosed with a mental ill disease, and it just, I struggle with it still daily. But I think that my trust in the Lord and trusting in him full throttle is something that keeps me going. I never stop praying for him. I never stop. My prayers will be answered one way or another, that he's healed.
Amen.
But yeah, it's tough. It's tough, but God gets me through it, and it's made me stronger. It's made me a stronger person.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
So let's go back to third grade, because I actually do remember your dad, super tall, very like a beautiful smile, like always like super friendly. Were you a daddy's girl or more of a mama's
I
girl?
was a daddy's girl growing up. I was
Yeah.
such a daddy's girl. Even when I was a little girl, like, me and my daddy were like tight, tight, and we still are. It's just something came between us, and mental illness is no joke. Drug addiction is no joke.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I was definitely a daddy's girl. I smile because I like am like remembering stories and stuff, and like now, like, he'll like always say like, "That's a daddy's girl. That's a daddy's girl," and I'm like, "Yes."
Yes. When did you kind of find out then that there was kind of like a issue? Because it's like when we're young,
Right,
our parents don't fully tell us
right.
everything, or we don't. So when did you
And
notice?
I didn't know much whenever I was in third grade. I didn't at all, honestly, until I got to about high school. My dad, or no, seventh grade. Seventh grade is when it kind of got bad, and some things started happening, well, with me and my mom and him. We had to move out the house and stuff like that. And so he went to rehab and this is when he got diagnosed with bipolars in 7th grade. And rehab helped him like tremendously. And he stayed in clean and sober for about 4 or 5 years. And then he gave his testimony in high school, like my junior year of high school. And like all my friends came, like we all stayed the night at my house, like even my guy friends, we all stayed the night at my house, woke up for church the next morning, and he gave his full testimony. And then about a couple years after that, or no, yeah, a year after that, he had relapsed, and I was going into college. And then my mom was like, I can't do it anymore. And so they got a divorce, and that was like one of the hardest things. And I don't think that I realized that until now, or not now, until freshman year of college, like what all that I was going through and what all like it really stuck, and it really was affecting my life. It really was affecting me. And so then after college, it just kind of, my parents got divorced, and that was the hardest thing. But my mom still loved my dad, but she thought it was going to help him. Like, okay, hey, you're losing your daughter and you're losing your wife. Like, this should kind of like, okay, hey, are you ready to get some help now? But with an addict and a mental illness patient, like you have to let them do that on their own. Like you can't make them want to get help. Like it's either, or it's a God thing, and you pray over them and you never stop praying, and God will answer your prayers until they're ready. You're not going to get anything out of them.
Mm-hmm. Or even some things that aren't with just prayer, it's also if they do need mental, like either medication, or they need therapy, or they need to go to a rehab center. Like there's more deeper things than just, sometimes even in our faith, like we sometimes think we can pray things away. And there are some things that until the person is willing, acknowledges what is going on,
Yeah, I got to a rock bottom point around sophomore year of college, and I got to a rock bottom point where like I was losing weight. Again, like me and my dad were close, and I just wanted my daddy back. Like I wanted my daddy to be normal again. And going through like, that was a big move in my life, going from high school to college. Like, I mean, that's a huge transition, and my daddy wasn't there. And I just had to lean on God. And my mom is my backbone. Like when I tell you, that was my counselor. That was my counselor. She got me through this, and we got through together, honestly. And we're still getting through together. Things are still not perfect, but I know that they will be because of God.
Yes. Amen. Yeah. And how have you and your mom, like how has your mom, because I feel like your mom's very strong, very like fun, like she's so kind, like she honestly has such a beautiful soul. Like she was actually my teacher in 3rd grade. So it's crazy to think that like even till this day, my little sister, she was her teacher too. So like, how has your mom, and I know that it would be probably different from her coming out of her mouth, but like what have you seen from her that you admire through this journey?
Her strong will, because honestly, she would have divorced him sooner if it wasn't for me. And she's always sacrificing things for me. Her sacrifice, her faith in the Lord, because she's the one that taught me my faith. And her just strong will, like she's so strong. And she's such a positive person. Like nothing is ever wrong in her eyes. And you know what I mean? Like nothing is just, and she's so positive. She never says anything negative. And like this whole thing, like she was just so positive through it. And she still loves my dad, and she still prays for him.
So what are things that you have done to kind of work on yourself and kind of get through these past few years?
Now that I've gotten older, and I feel like it has affected me more as a grown woman, because I see more, I just, my mind is wiser, and I never stop praying, and journal. And then even lean on people that have gone through similar things like me, talking about it. And honestly, right now, like this is a whole therapy session for me. So yes.
Talking about it. And That's one of the beautiful things about when you talk about your story. It's like you become free of whatever the pressure and the weight to be like, I understand and it's okay that you're going through that. And I'm here for you in whatever way that I can, if it's to hear and just to see your strength, honestly, to see how you've come along this way, no matter what you have been through. That's empowering to me. That's inspiring, to be honest.
And
So
that's
thank you
what
for
I hope.
being vulnerable. Thank
Yes,
you so much for being vulnerable.
yes, absolutely. I know that God does everything for a reason, and I hope to help the next person.
Yeah. And how's your relationship with your dad right now? So are you guys on talking terms? Do you guys see each other?
Um, it's not how it used to be. I can say that um, it is tough. He's not the same person. Um, my gosh, I'm gonna tear up.
It's okay.
He's not the same person at all. Um, yeah, not the same person. So it's kind of tough right now, but prayers I've leaned on. I always say this. I think I've said this like a million times in this podcast, but my prayers, I haven't given up. I haven't given up. I keep praying for him. Never stop praying, never stop praying.
Yep. And you love him as he is and
Oh yes,
understand
that is
that.
my daddy. That's my guy. That's my guy. But yeah.
No, I see how it is heartbreaking, and I
Yeah.
can't say that I fully understand that, but I know that at the end of the day, like, God loves your dad,
Yes.
even if you love him so much. God loves him 10 to 100 times more. So I know that no matter what, like, God is watching out for him, you know?
Sorry for getting
It's
stuck. I was just kind of
it's okay, girl. So what would you tell someone that has gone through real life obstacles? Like, we know that life is not perfect. You can post pretty pictures and have this life that people see from the outside, but people go through real life stuff that hurts us, that we cry, that we suffer, that we go through. So what would you tell someone that is going through something?
Don't give up. Stand firm. Don't give up. One of my mentors told us this the other day in Zoom. With greater pain comes purpose. And I stand behind that. God does everything for a reason. You got this. You can do this. And what's yours is what's yours. And choose faith over your fears. Never stop praying, and they'll be answered one way or another.
Thank you so much, Bailey, for sharing your heart. Where can people find you if they
Um,
wanted to talk to you, follow you on social media?
yes, on Instagram, social media, Bailey Overstreet _, and you can contact me there. I think my email is up there, or you can DM me.
Yeah, she's amazing. She has a lot of things that I'm excited to see, all the things that God is going to do in her life. And even through the story of your dad and, the redemption story of that. So I'm excited to hear more. But thank you so much, Bailey. I really appreciate you. And I know that you encouraged and empowered someone today.
Thank you.
Wow, that was such a great story. And just hearing it from her, I would have never known those things. I really hope it encouraged someone today. Thank you so much for everyone that has supported the podcast over the past few weeks. We are on episode 5, and that's crazy. And I'm just really thankful for everybody's support. If you love what you're hearing, if you love the conversations that we're having, please leave a review. Make sure to follow me on social media at Elizabeth Savvy, and make sure to subscribe to this podcast. We'll see you next week.